name is Saganaki. I am a volunteer community moderator with Prosperous Universe. I'm going to go through a walkthrough of Metallurgist for starting. I just want to note that a lot of the stuff you're going to see here isn't necessarily going to be like what you're expected to know, but this is kind of my thought process. This is coming from a more advanced point of view. Um, and if you've already started and you've quote unquote made mistakes, don't worry, totally fine. Um, 2 weeks in this game is literally nothing. Just start over by issuing the colic command, and by all means, you can basically start over, choose a better starting strategy, etc. Because 2 weeks in this game you can make back with a few smart decisions. Um, let's jump right in. Let's start some music here. But so we're gonna start with metallurgy or metallurgist. So what we start with metallurgist is we start with two HB1s and an extractor and a smelter. So let's take a look. So what I'm going to do is just click on these boxes and we're going to see what it does. An extractor extract ores from the planet. Makes sense. A smelter, so what we got here is we have a bunch of recipes. So this is talking from experience, of course. We have iron and aluminum are probably two prime suspects here. So iron is going to be used in, let's see, a PP1 primarily. This is what we're primarily targeting. And then aluminum is going to be used in a PP2. This is also something that we're targeting. So we have kind of two choices. We can start with iron or aluminum, and it's going to be aluminum ore specifically. So if we click on L, what we have to do is we use 6 aluminum ore, 1 carbon, 1 oxygen to 3 aluminum, or we add in a flux here for an additional 1. This is generally speaking the optimal recipe. We also start with, as we can see, FeO, carbon, and oxygen. So yes, we do start with FeO, and even if we decide to go into aluminum ore, we can still actually just process this FeO, sell it, and then start working on ALO, for example. So we're going to see what we're going to do. We're going to see what options we have. So we're going to start with metallurgist. We're going to see what starting locations we have. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for either iron ore or aluminum ore. That's basically our options. So we don't have that here. We don't have that here. Nope. Okay, so Montum is one option. And it's also in system for, so if we see here, it says, hey, Moria Station Commodity Exchange. It's in system. So I'm going to make some notes here in Notepad. Let's see. No. No. Oh yeah, I should mention we also need oxygen if we wanted to collect it ourselves. So it's got FeO and oxygen because oxygen is used. Sorry, I'm duplicating here. 1 second. Okay. That was embarrassing. We need oxygen and carbon. So oxygen is another part of the recipe. So if we decided to be self-sufficient, we could do oxygen here. So I'm going to say that's pretty low. So we're going to do FeO and O, a little on the low side. What other options we got? Etherwind only has oxygen. Valus has FeO and oxygen, and that's much better, higher concentration of FeO. So Valus, FeO, high, and oxygen still kind of on the low side, and it is also in system. Let's see, nope. Nope. So Berthier, it's got aluminum ore. It is 3 jumps away. No, so that's all it has. It doesn't have oxygen. No, no, nope, nope. Okay, so Phobos, that's very low. It's got FeO and oxygen, but FeO is low concentration, and it is in system. Demos. Oh, that's good and good. That's a good candidate in my mind. ALO high and oxygen high. It is one jump away. And then Gibson. FEO, that's okay. And oxygen low, and this is 2 jumps. So I think this is all we got because we start back at Boucher and Promontory. Yeah, okay, so we cycled around. So I am leaning personally towards this. So we have good ALO high and then also good oxygen high. So what we can do is, yes, it's one jump away, but that's not a huge deal. So I think we're going to start with Demos and see how it goes, and we'll walk through that process here. Alright, company details. I'm going to name Saganaki Stream 2, and then Saga, or Sags. Let's go with Sags, and we're going to click this button, hit Create. Alright, let me take a drink of my coffee, and then we'll get started. Oh my gosh, I've been muted this entire time. Alright, whatever, I'm not going to publish this, whatever. But I'm going to go through this process here. Basically, I skipped the tutorial. We'll see how this goes. We skipped the tutorial, and I'm going over the UI here. Basically, what I was saying before, my apologies for being muted. I'm not great at this. But you can do all sorts of stuff with the UI. It's very customizable. You can drag it this way, drag it this way. And then what you can do is you can split tiles by mousing over the gear icon. And then what you do is you hit this vertical bar for splitting horizontally, or this horizontal bar for splitting. Sorry, I reversed that. So this will create a vertical bar which splits horizontally. This will create a horizontal bar that splits vertically. So what you can do is you can split and say I wanted to dock this guy in here in one of these tiles. What you can do is drag this inner blue part, not the upper blue part, but the inner blue part in here. Buffers. So everything that is docked to the window is called a tile. Everything that is floating is called a buffer, and these are temporary. Buffers are temporary, tiles are permanent. So if I hit refresh here, refresh, reload, the buffers will go away, but the tiles will remain. So, okay, that's kind of getting started there with the UI. And the thing is, you can customize this however you see fit, and we'll go over that some more later. So I'm going to close this back out. And the first step that we're supposed to do is we're going to start a base. The way you do that is you literally, so we're around Deimos, so both of our ships are on Deimos. And that's the planet we chose because it's got aluminum and oxygen. And we're going to hit start base. And we're just going to click build base button. And we hear the ding. I'm going to turn that off for now, though. But, so, one thing that's important to note is even if there's no available plots, as your first base, you can start anywhere. You can just start on a full planet. Perfectly fine. Alright, so now that we've done that, next step is we need to build stuff. The instructions before, we can see this from the help, right? We click the help here and it says, hey, building recommendations. The building recommendations we have for Metallurgist is 2 HB1s, as it said before. So HB1s, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type, and again, this is advanced stuff, so that's okay if you don't know this. It'll walk you through it if you follow the tutorial exactly, but BUI HB1. So BUI space HB1. I click new buffer bottom left, and I'm typing this in here. And what it's going to do is it's going to tell us what it does. So this is a building. It's the building command, and HB1 is the ticker. Ticker is basically a 3 or 4 character, or it's actually anywhere from 2 to 4 characters that represents like a building. So another example would be BUIEXT, which is what we're going to be building soon. And also BUISME, which is a smelter. So the starting package said build 2 HB1s, and then 1 extractor and 1 smelter. What that means is that when we build 2 HB1s, we have capacity. So we have space for 200 pioneers. And then when we build 1 extractor and 1 smelter, that means we're using 110. So 60 plus 50 is 110 pioneers, which means we have 90 capacity available. So now that we've done that, we've started a base. What we need to do is we need to click this inventory on the left side here. So we click I and V, and we have a base storage. We have 2 cargo holds and a base storage. Because we started a base, we have new storage that has a capacity of 1,500 tons of weight, 1,500 meters cubed of volume. So I like having this on screen, so we're going to basically dock this guy. So what I did here is I can't drag it if there's an existing tile there. I click this gear icon and click the colon button, and then now it turns into that striped tile thing, and now I'm going to drag it in here. So now we need to build stuff. In order to build stuff, so we click on BS on the top left, we click on View Base, and I'm going to click on the Construct button. So I'm going to close this guy for now, close this guy. So this is our building construction menu. I'm trying to build habitations, but I can't. The reason is because all of the goods, and what you can do is you can click on either this cargo bit here, this little icon, it tells you how much cargo is filled into the cargo hold, or you can click on the cargo button on the right side in the fleet tile. This is FLT, fleet. Cargo, cargo. So I open both of them. As we can see, this has got all the building parts, right? So it's got the BSE, it's got the BBH, BDE, BTA. All of those represent something. And the way to see what they represent is you can either mouse over it and see a little text there, or you can just click on it, and it opens a different tile. And from here, and this is where you can see where it kind of spiders out of control a little bit, almost like Wikipedia, like clicking links all the time, is you can start clicking on other stuff. You can click on this, click on etc. Right? This is basically explaining everything about the game, and you can kind of spider out and research it on your own. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag all the goods that we have on both my ships to the base. Because in order to build this, it needs to be in the base inventory. So one way to do that is you can click and drag. Or well, I'll say this. Say, for example, I'll go over this just because, but say, for example, we only wanted to transfer 107 MCG. What we can do is we can click, drag. You can type 107, hit change, transfer, and exactly 107 will transfer over. You can also do 1, 10, or half, or 100, or all, right? So those are your options. Alternatively, you can click this unload button, and everything just gets unloaded into the planet. I'm going to do this unload button for this one as well. I'm going to mute 1 second, and I'll remember to unmute this time, just for some coffee. Okay, so now we got to build the buildings. As you can see, it says in stock now. I'm going to click build once, build twice. So we have 2 HP1s built. Next on the list is we had an extractor. An extractor is, resource extraction, so it's under the resources tab. We're going to find it, we're going to build it. Okay. Next we have the smelter. Smelter is going to be a pioneer building, because it says just pioneers here. I've got to find the smelter. Smelter is right here, produces metals from ores. Build. So now we'll see, we don't have any BSE, BBH, BDE, or BTA, or MCG in our inventory. So our starter package gave us just the right amount of stuff to build, so we did it. Okay, so next steps. Now that we have an extractor and a smelter, we need to actually put those to work. So what we're going to do, start from scratch here, we're going to type BS, or I'm sorry, we're going to click the BS button. We're going to click View Base. From here, I'm going to dock 2 windows that I think are important. So first things first, let's shuffle things around. We don't need it this big. I'm just going to close this because it's slowing things down a little bit, but we don't need it this giant. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to basically customize the UI now. So I think we're going to, we'll stick with this. So I'm going to click BS, click View Base, and I'm going to click on this Workforce tab, or button. This is going to bring up this buffer. It's going to tell us how much we're using of consumables. So our workers need consumables to work. So I'm going to drag this guy over here. And then I'm going to click on production. And this is our production lines. So I'm going to click new order on extractor, and we can see, okay, we're going to generate 14 ALO in 15 hours and 7 minutes. I'm going to note that this is real time. So that's exactly how long it takes to do that. You'll also see, hey, if you don't have a pro account, some settings in this command are limited. What you're limited to is you can't do recurring orders. When you're starting, even I would say for maybe a good, 3 months, this isn't going to bother you in the least. And not only that, once you get even to a full year of gameplay, you can get past this. What you can do is you can stagger your orders. You'll figure it out later. But for now, stick with order sizes of 1. You don't want to do 5 because then you'll wait for 3 days. You don't want that. Stick with order size of 1, and what we're going to do is we're just going to queue up a bunch of this. So what we have is we have 14 units in 15 hours and 7 minutes. And then after that, we have 5 of those queued. So in theory, we can, what is it? 30, 60, 90 hours. We have, like 4 days of queued up work. That doesn't mean you just go away for 4 days, and we'll go over that in a little bit here. So next is smelter. Okay. So based on what we have, so important here is that this production template row here, right? It's a drop down. So the first option isn't going to be the only thing you can do. You can do all sorts of stuff. So because we start with FEO, I'm going to start processing this FEO because that's what we have available for. So we have FEO, we have 40 FEO, we have 6 oxygen, 6 carbon. So based on the numbers, so 40 divided by 6 is what? I can't do math right now, so let's see. It's too early for that. 6.6. Why did they give you 40 then? That's strange. Okay, well, whatever. So we have over 6 orders of FEO. So we're going to focus on FEO O for oxygen and C for carbon. So I'm going to click this row, and I'm going to queue it up a bunch of times. Whoops. So we are all set with the smelter start. Now, what's important here is based on these values. So we can see, hey, drinking water. I have my workers consume 4.4 units a day. So based on the numbers here, 35 divided by 4.4, I have 7 just short of 8 days of consumables for my workforce. So what I'm going to do is that's actually really good. That's actually pretty high up there, at least for starting packages. What I'm going to do here is now I'm going to send one of my haulers to the nearest exchange. So the way you do this is you click on map, and let's make this guy pretty big so we can see which exchange is the closest. So we are, so I'm mousing over the Demos link here. We're right there. The commodity exchange icon is this hexagon. So we're going to find the nearest one, which is just basically southeast, or bottom, down and right of it. So we're going to click this guy, and it's saying, let's see, what do we got here? The station is Antera Station. That's our nearest station. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to select this guy. I'm going to click fly, and I'm going to type Antares Station. So then when it's going to filter, it's going to bring up some search results. I'm going to click it. So now what we can see is we have some default settings here that's saying we're going to get there in 4 hours, 17 minutes. Yes, this is actually really fast for this game. Normally, jumps can take much longer. And so my suggestion when you're just starting is to minimize reactor usage if you are outside of jumps. The reason is because you can look here, right? The difference is, let's see, about 5 hours compared to, we're losing, what is that? No. We're losing about 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. So 45 minutes of time for an additional 10 units of FTL fuel. I'll go over how to price check. Maybe that's worth it for you. But, I'm just going to set it to minimum, and then I'm going to play with this a little bit. And I would say 5 hours is reasonable, right? So I'm going to check. I'm going to look at the time. Thankfully, it's 9:35 a.m. for me. So in 5 hours, I will be available to check on the ship and follow up with whatever happens. There is no point in, let's say that it is 10 p.m., okay? And I'm going to be asleep in 1 hour. There is no point to make your ship get there sooner if you're going to be asleep when it lands, because you can't follow up on any actions, because your ship's being idle is a problem, right? So, and also burning more fuel costs money because you have to purchase the fuel. So I'm going to suggest minimum reactor usage and play with this slider a little bit. As you progress through the game, you'll start to, play with it and kind of understand the pluses and minuses. So I'm going to start the flight. I'm going to hit start. So we're en route. It's going to take 4 hours, 57 minutes of real time. So basically in 4 hours, that's going to get there around probably 1. My math is bad in the morning. No, probably closer to 2. 240, 235, whatever. So now I'm going to plan, hey, let's see what else we can do on this planet. So we go to BS, we go to View Base, Workforce, which we have here actually, so I don't even need to do that. We have 110 workers, and we have workforce size of 200. So we have 90 pioneers we can fill the space with, if need be. So I'm going to look and see what we can do to build something and how much it's going to cost us. So first things first, I'm going to click this sidebar button in the top left corner. It's going to bring up the right side, and it's going to tell us some cash balances. Alternatively, you can type Finla. Okay, and this tells us the cash balances as well. So let's try that. Let's do that instead. So I'm going to, oops, I didn't mean to do that way. I'm going to split this horizontally, and I'm going to do another vertical, and I'm going to throw this guy over here. Just keep him there for now. So let's go to, so now we need to go, now that we're going to the Antera Station, we need to interact with the Antera Station. And the way to do that is we're actually going to buy some stuff from there. The way to do this is you click on CXL. But first, my apologies, let's see what we can build. So we can build another extractor, right? We can build another smelter, or we can gather some oxygen. I think oxygen's probably sounding like a good choice, so we can kind of be a little bit more self-sufficient, because oxygen is necessary for smelting. So let's go ahead and plan for that. So the way you do this is you go to BS, click View Base, click Construct, And oxygen is atmospheric, so it's a gas. So what we're going to do is click on resources, and we're going to see, okay, a rig extracts liquid resources. In this case, it would be water. Extractor extracts ores or minerals, which would be aluminum. And then we have a collector that extracts gases, which would be oxygen in this instance. So what we need, bring out Notepad. We need 16 BSE and 60 MCG. Let's see if we have enough to do that. Okay, so let's say that's our plan. We're going to do that, and then we're also going to buy some inputs because we don't produce carbon. We're going to need to do that. But everything else we kind of have. So, also we need to feed our workers, and the way you feed your workers is with drinking water, rations, overalls. And then we also have the luxury consumables, which are padded work overalls and caffeinated infusion. Speaking of caffeinated infusion, okay. So, we're going to focus on building materials, which is 16 BSE and 60 MCG. So, what we're going to do is we're going to click the CXL button. CXL means Commodity Exchange Listing. So it's going to list all the commodity exchanges. And then we're going to find the Antares Station Commodity Exchange, which is the one that we're flying to right here. So, my suggestion here is, you know what, let's just dock it. Because we're going to be using this pretty often. Let's dock it over here. So now it is a tile. If we refresh, it'll be present. So, first things first, we need BSE, 16 BSE. So I'm going to click New Buffer, Mat, BSE. So BSE, if you look at the category here, is a construction prefab. So we're going to go to this drop down. We're going to go construction prefabs. Let's find BSE, and you're going to see all this information here. Okay, you're going to see, hey, the price change, the ask amount, the bid amount, etc., supply demand. All of that is great. You can kind of look at that, and figure out what that means later, effectively. But my suggestion for new players is to click this orders button. So how this works is these are all real people playing the game. And what we have here is we have this guy, whoever this is, this company, I should say, the CEO, is selling 5 units of BSE, and they're selling it for that amount of currency. And then on the other end, we have this person that's willing to buy 5 units of BSE at this currency. So, what I can do, there's a few things you can do. Let's say I want to buy, let's see, 16 BSE, and I think, all right, I think the price is going to go down. So I'm going to do 14.00. You know what? Let's do 14.10. Let's buy it for 14.10. So I'm going to hit this buy button, and you're going to note that I don't actually get anything. I just want to mention that I only have a request set up here. Okay, I have a request. I haven't purchased anything. My currency has gone down. So basically, I have a bid for 16 units of BSE at this price point. Now, I can either wait for somebody to fill it, which could happen. Meaning, somebody comes along and goes, all right, I need my money fast. I'm going to sell this guy the 16 BSE. And he comes along, and if it gets filled. Or, what else I can do is I'm going to take down this order and then just purchase 16 units at this price, basically. So the way to take down a bid is to click on CXOS, stands for Commodity Exchange Own Orders, or I don't know why the OS is there, but that's what it is. And I'm going to delete it. So what's going to happen is this line is going to go away, and I'm going to get my currency back. So now I'm back up to 44,990, and my currency is back, or in this order is back. Gone. Sorry, my apologies. So instead, I'm just going to buy at this price point. So what I can do is I can type 1489, which is actually this row. Okay. And what it's going to do is I'm going to buy 5 units at this price point automatically, and then it's going to buy the remaining 11 at this price point, because I specified a limit that is higher. So I'm going to hit buy, and I just bought 16 units of BSE. So where the BSE shows up is currently because I don't have any storage on the station, it's showing it comes across as a contract. So two ways to do this. You can click CONT, and then you can see, hey, what are the contracts available to me? I can click on this guy. I can see I have 5 units to pick up, and then I have the other 11 units to pick up. So when I get there with my ship, I can click Fulfill. So that's one option. Alternatively, what I can do is I can click on this commodity exchange, click on the warehouse, enter a station warehouse, and I can rent 500 meters cubed / 500 tons of storage space on the CX itself. So this is really helpful and useful. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. It only costs 100 currency a week. That is literally pennies. So I'm going to rent one, and what I'm going to do is I can either click Open Store, or I can click INV on the left side and open this warehouse unit. And it's important enough in my mind that I'm going to dock it. Okay, so now if we go back to the contracts, you'll see it's green. I can fulfill it, and if I fulfill it, it's going to move to the station warehouse. So what else we need to buy is MCG. What we're going to do is I'm going to edit this buffer, mat MCG, and MCG is a construction materials. So we're going to go to that category and find MCG. It's right here. Click on the orders, and it looks like they're being sold for 35. I'm just going to buy it outright because, this is a tutorial, but, maybe it's worthwhile for you to save a few currency to, save money on it. So we're going to do it. We're going to buy, we said 60 MCG, and we're going to buy at 35, and I'm going to hit buy. Okay. So now I have 16 BSC and 60 MCG on the station. In order to build this collector on my base, I need to fly to the station, pick it up, load it up into the cargo hold of the ship, and then fly the ship back, drop off the goods, and then build it. So it's something important to mention. To explain this a little bit better, I'm going to show you the system map so you can see what the station looks like. So the station is actually going around the sun here. It is, what's the word for that? And I can't think. But it is, yeah, it's just going around the sun. It's actually like it's actually, in orbit. That's the word. It's orbiting the sun. So even if you were on this planet or on this planet, you still have to fly to the station. Oh, geez, Cove is in the chat. So, we're going to start there. I need some more coffee. Give me one moment here. Sorry, I'm RPing a Pioneer here. So next things that we need to do is we should probably buy some more consumables. So we said we had around 8 days of consumables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to round it up to 10. So let's get 10 more days of consumables. And then we're also, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually check on coffee. So let's see, let's click on coffee. It is a consumables luxury. We're going to click CXL and Terrace. Oh yeah, never mind. It's tiled right here. My apologies. Consumables luxury. Let's find coffee. Orders. It's $3.99. That's actually a decent price in my mind. I'm just going to go with it. So we're going to buy some coffee. I will also say that you generally always want to buy padded work overalls. Padded work overalls are pretty dang cheap. So PWO. Yeah, that's dirt cheap, and it only uses 0.2 units a day. So we're going to do that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to buy an additional 2 days of rations, drinking water, and overalls. So for drinking water, that is going to be 4.4 times 2. We're just going to round up to 9. Same for rat, 9 rat. Overalls, we need 2 more days, so we'll just say 2 more OVEs, and then we're going to want 10 days of coffee and 10 days of PWO. 6 coffee multiplied by 10, 2 PWO multiplied by 10. 0.2 times 10 is 2. So let's buy those. So let's start with coffee. And we're going to see the prices. We see if we want to buy it outright, it's $3.99. So we're going to click this button in the top right corner, place order. And 6 coffee, so 6 at $3.99. Let's hit buy. So now it's going to show up in our warehouse. Next, we want to do PWO. PWO is right here. Let's click the orders button, 175. Click the place order button, and we wanted 2 units of PWO at 175. So we bought it outright. And then we need, so we're going to go back to the basics. So click on drinking water, it's consumables basic. And select that guy. And drinking water. Orders. Let's see, it's going for, that's pretty expensive for drinking water, but we don't really have any other option. So 9 drinking water at $78.98. So I'm going to show a brief trick here. Again, it's not really a trick, but it'll kind of explain how these work a little bit. So we brought some drinking water. Now we want to buy rations. One thing you could do, instead of clicking through all the menus again, is you click this colon and you can see the command. So it says CXOB, which stands for order book, DW.AI1. So DW is the ticker for the resource that we're trying to buy. AI1 is the exchange code. You can find that right here, that column, that row. So we already bought DW, now we care about RAT. What we can do is we can just replace the text there, hit enter, and now we have the rations order book. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to buy 9 more rations at $86.90. Buy. And then last thing is OVE. Same trick. OVE. You can do the same thing over here even. OVE. And then we're going to buy 2 of them at 90. Is that what we said? Okay, perfect. So now we're all set. Okay. So we have all the goods available on the station. So when we get here, we can pick all this up, throw it into the ship, and fly back. However, we still need to consider that our smelter recipe is ALO, O, and C. So we're going to be producing our own oxygen soon. We are already producing our own aluminum. We need carbon. We could also do this recipe. So let's check that. Let's click on flux. Let's see what flux is. Flux is a chemical. Let's find flux. I can't find it. I'm going to do CXOB FLX.AI1. Okay. So flux is going for 199 AIC. So one thing I can tell you is that to give you kind of an idea of how to determine if this is worthwhile, is the recipe with flux. So you get 1 flux for an additional AL, or you don't use flux and you get 3. So 3 versus 4. The timing, it's about 2 hours, right? 2 hours 20 minutes. Let's see if it's worthwhile. One way to do it, a quick check, is to see the price compare between 1 flux and 1 AL. So let's check the price, CXOB AL.AI1. So if I wanted to sell an additional unit of aluminum right away, I can sell it for 367. And I would buy 1 flux for 200. So that's an additional 167 currency of profit. Even with the 2-hour slowdown, I would say personally, just kind of, ballparking it, that's worthwhile. Because you can just immediately make 167 in profit. So I'm going to buy a bunch of flux. And I'm going to buy it from Bob Industries. So let's buy 10 units, I guess. Let's see. 10 units of flux. So for 199 ASE, you know what? Let's bump that up to 20. Let's see. How many days is that going to be? So that we're going to have 13. So let's do the math here. So we want 10 days worth of flux. So 34 divided by 60 first. So 13.56. is the amount of hours. 24 times 10, 240, divided by 13.56. So that would get us 17 days. Sorry, 17 days worth would be... Did I do the math wrong? I'm sure I did the math wrong. Okay. Let's see how much flux we use a day. How about that? So, sorry. It's too early in the morning for me. 13.56. So 24 divided by 13.56. We would use 1.7 flux a day. We multiply that by 10. We'll just round up to 18 flux. That's how much we need for 10 days. Sure. Let's buy 18 flux. Okay. So next, so that's 18 orders of flux. So that means we need 18 orders of 18 orders worth of carbon as well. So let's look at carbon prices. C.AI1. It looks like we could buy for $349.99. So let's do that. We don't really have a choice, unfortunately, but yeah, so we'll buy it. And now we have basically 10 days worth of inputs for everything. So once our ship gets there, we load it up, fly it back, build additional buildings, and we should be good for a while. So what's important, though, is the reason I told you to do small orders is you're going to eventually want to load up your ship with some iron or aluminum, whatever you're producing, to fly back to the exchange and sell it. Because right now, we're in a good spot, actually. We're under 5,000 currency, which is great. The reason you want to spend most of your currency, but you want to keep a little bit around, is because money that is sitting in your bank account is money that's not really working for you. So, also I want to mention this. The reason you want to keep some currency around is when we go to this, you'll see that there's a production fee for producing goods. In this case, it's 5 AIC per order. So, just I think that pretty much covers most of it. I'm going to, just switch over to the general Q&A and going over some stuff if people want. But yeah, again, this is a very slow-paced game. I've kind of walked through the initial setup, so to speak. But yeah. Let's see. Can you RP an engineer on stream? All right, let's see. I need gin. It's 10 o'clock. I can't do that right now. I mean, I can, but I shouldn't. Wait, engineer. I take that back. No, it is gin. Okay. I mean, flavored Instameal, I'm basically doing that. I have gin. First thing Kovis mentions is, hey, you don't have gin? Yeah, I have gin, Kovis. I just don't want to drink at 10 a.m. I'm not an alcoholic. Yeah. I see that there was a spammer. Let's see. Let's see what other questions we had. Would it be possible to go over the chart quickly? Just a general how-to read. Sure. Yeah, actually, that's a good topic. So let's go, because we're going to be generating some AL, right? What I'm going to do is go to what is AL considered to walk through this process. Order AL, click this guy. AL is considered a metal, so we're going to go to the category metals, and we have AL. So we have the order book, okay, and then we have a chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dock this guy. So we have, let's go look at the 30-day outlook, right? So I'm going to click 30 days top left. That's how long of time is being shown. And then this over here, right, is going to show you the the interval of the bars, right? So what it means is this bar here represents 12 hours of time. So I'm going to reduce it to 6 hours, and I'm going to dock it over here, right? It's going to look a little sparse, but yeah, let's go back to 12 hours because that's what the suggestion is. But here's what you can see, right? So green bars mean the price has gone up. So a transaction has happened and the price has gone up. The red bar means a transaction happened and the price dropped. Okay. So this bar here is the running average of the price. So you can kind of mouse over it and you can see the price point. And this over here, I believe, is the amount of units that were moved. So, yeah, this is the amount of units that have moved, and you can see, all right, 300 units were moved in this time frame. And what we have is we have a bunch of values here. We have open, close, C is close, high, low, and what we have is volume here. Volume is considered number of units sold times the price. So the reason you have this chart here, and the reason I'm docking it, is because, hey, what you want to do is we're basically playing a real market simulation game, and we want to see if we can predict the trend lines and see what's going to happen next. So, if we're over here and we look at, let's look at 180 days, right? Give it a second to load here. Okay, maybe I had to click. But we can see that the lowest point was around 226, and that was in November of last year. So it's probably not going to go further down than this, right? So we're also seeing kind of like a cycle, right? So we're probably, I'm not a market analyst by any means, but it's probably going to go down a little bit and then probably come back up. So you could, in theory, plan for that, but we're talking over 2 months here, right? So, and like I said before, you need to use your money for expansion, because idle money is money not making you money. Let's see what other things I have. I guess I'll go over a few quick quote-unquote pro tips here. I go over a bunch of these all the time, but let's see. So I'm going to split this bar vertically. And let's say I wanted to put something here. Let's see. INV. So what you can do is, to save on screen real estate, is you can create some of these buffers on the bottom. I'm sorry, these tiles on the bottom or the top. So for example, I could do this. I want to move this guy down here, and I want to put, let's say I wanted to put BS over here for some reason. What you can do is, in order to save screen real estate, is you can, what I'm going to call like sliding tiles. You basically hide it by doing that. And hey, it's something I need to look at really quick. You pull it up, take a look at it, put it away again. So that's one trick you can do. Another trick is if you want to have a single place to look at a bunch of prices. So let's say I want to look at all the consumable prices. I can create a new group. I'm going to call this price lookup. So this is I guess I can't have spaces, price lookup. So I have a private chat with just me, right? It's worth noting that you can't join any private chat unless you are explicitly invited. So if somebody else named a chat price lookup, they won't join this chat. So what you can do is you can type in all the consumables you want. So there's a trick with the chat in this game, where if you type the code, the ticker followed by dot followed by the exchange code, so rat.ai1, you hit enter, you're going to see the price. So let's see what it's showing. It's showing it's showing the ask amount. So if you wanted to buy rations right now, it would cost 86.9. We can confirm that by clicking on orders, 86.9. We can also do dw.ai1, ove.ai1, cough.ai1, pwo.ai1. Okay, so what's important is these will automatically update. So I'm gonna throw this guy. Let's do AL as well. I'm gonna throw this guy. Let's see. Maybe a good spot would be like over here or something. So I'm just gonna keep that on screen at all times, and I can see at a glance what the prices of stuff are. It also tells you the trend. It's going up a little bit, but again, that can't really be trusted, so to speak. That can change abruptly. I did show you guys the trick with the map. It's not really a trick, it's part of the UI, but a lot of people don't know about it. Where if you have any link, so you can mouse over it and you can see the pulsating radial bit there. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. But any link, yep. An example, let's say we wanted to see where Etherwind was. Oh yeah, that's another trick. Let's go over that now while we can. Click New Buffer. So you can type PLI. PLI normally takes a planet. So normally you'd have to type ZV-759C. But if you just type it by itself, hit Enter, it becomes a search bar. So let's type Etherwind. It's the name of a planet, or a name of a it's the name of a planet. And unfortunately, there's no link to the planet here. But what you can do is you can click on sys command, and we mouse over the link for Etherwind, and it's going to show us where Etherwind is relative to us. So you could do that. Let's see, what other tricks are there? I don't think I've got anything else. Another comment I should make is that being a few jumps out from the exchange isn't necessarily a bad thing. So to explain a little bit, let's go back here. Let's go to the system map. So if you are on Phobos here, right, and you basically need to travel this distance to the station every time, okay? But when you're using FTL flight, or faster than light fuel, you jump from so you basically make this jump, and what happens is you FTL jump, which costs money, of course, but you basically land in system pretty close to the station, and then you fly the rest of the distance. So in some cases, especially if FTL fuel is cheap, it's actually cheaper to basically be one jump out or two jumps out, because you just jump and then you're really close and you use less STL fuel to fly to the station, as opposed to making a giant flight back and forth. Let's take a look at prices. I'm going to type cxob sf.ai1, and then let's see ff.ai1. Yeah, so FF is actually way cheaper than SF, which isn't terribly common, to be honest. But yeah, so in this instance, it's actually better to be at least one jump out of Antares, because fuel, faster than light fuel, is cheaper. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna get some more coffee, and then I'll answer some more questions if anyone's got them. All right, we're back. I'm going to put this away because this is my streamer account. I want to make a quick note that you are not normally allowed to have multiple accounts. I've explicitly asked for permission and gained permission to do this because I'm not going to be playing on this account. It's merely for going through tutorials and stuff like that. So let's close this guy out. Let's bring up my main account here. I saw that there was a bunch of spam, but I think it's been off screen by this point. Okay, well, we'll revisit that later. Does anyone have any questions? I'm happy to go through whatever. Whatever anyone comes up with, that sort of thing. No question is too stupid when it comes to this game. It's complex. Alternatively, I can go over some Google Sheets stuff. It'll be kind of a first for me. I'm not a Google Sheets guru by any means, but we'll learn together. I do have a hard stop at 10:45, I believe. Okay, yeah, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to stop streaming for like 10 seconds so that this becomes a separate video. So 1 sec.